Hello and welcome. How you doing? This is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swaggerslifestyle. Hope you have been good. I have been good. I've had a fabulous and amazing day and hope your day is going on well for those people that are in different climes other than Nigeria, and hope for those that are in Nigeria, you've had a very wonderful day. It's always beautiful, amazing. Anytime I come to sit and have conversations with you, I always look forward to having conversations with you. So today, I'm excited. Why? Because it is jackpot season and it is jackpot time. Because we know that as from the end of this month, September, the exodus and the movement of the people will be on a high level. So today, we're talking about 2 countries in 3 years. My journey to Canada PR. And I have an amazing person. I would not introduce her. I would just allow her to please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Funke. My name is Winifred Ashenze, and I'm a business analyst. I live in the UK. I have a 9-to-5 job that I do. And aside that, I'm a mom of 2 and a wife as well. And then I run a small business from time to time. It's a handcrafting, it's a gift concierge that I run. That is it.
Thank you so much for honoring our invite. Because the truth is that a lot of people really do not like sharing their experience or their story. And, because in this part of, the climb, a lot of people keep quiet about their relocation plans and all of that. The next thing you see, you just see pictures, you see posing, you see the foreign life and everything. And sometimes when you ask them that, oh, how did you go about it and all of that, they will say, don't worry, just apply. Don't worry, just apply. But the fact that you're coming here today to tell us about your story, the process and all of that, we really, really do appreciate, the fact that you're going to share your experience with the world. So let's just go straight into the conversation, because a lot of people are actually, they need that knowledge. They need that information to be able to move them away from here to there. But the truth is that Nigeria is an amazing place, and probably whichever country you are in, it's an amazing place. So, but people just have different plans and they're looking for how to make their life better. So, why did you decide to leave Nigeria?
Okay, so for me, I've always wanted to live abroad, right from when I was little. But I'm Igbo, by the way, and my mom calls me Adobodo Igbo. It means daughter of the abroad. I've always wanted to live abroad, but you know how it is that when you live in Nigeria and you actually go on holiday, probably you come to the UK or you go to the US, it's not as it is when you actually live in those countries. Going on a holiday and spending 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even a month is not like it is when you actually live in the UK. So I made up my mind to leave Nigeria permanently after I had lived in the UK and I did my master's back in 2015. When I came back to Nigeria, it was like nothing was working for me. I just felt that nudge, that push to want to leave Nigeria. And for you to want to leave Nigeria and actually live a better life, of course, you have to look for a legitimate way to live. And that was what I did.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So it's just been a desire to leave. It's not like you were so tired of the country and say, you know what, I'm not doing this any longer. I just want to go.
No.
Wow.
Well, somehow that somehow, but majorly, I have always wanted to leave Nigeria. Yeah.
Good. All right. So how did you relocate to now? We have the topic is 2 countries in 3 years. So tell us the name of the countries. we know the latter is Canada. So what was the first country that you actually relocated?
Okay, so the first country I relocated to was the UK, and I moved here in 2020. Yeah, I came to do my second master's to say. So I had done a first master's back in 2015, and then I came back again to do a second master's because, to be honest, if you have to jackpot out of Nigeria, it's either you're getting a job that can sponsor you to leave from Nigeria to the UK, or you're using study route. So that was what I did. I used the study route.
So why did you choose the UK?
Okay, I chose the UK for a lot of things. Number one is actually the fees. So UK universities, their fees are not as much as the US and Canada as at the time. And then secondly, the length of their courses as well. And one of the major reasons why I chose UK a second time was because as at the time when I was coming in 2020, we had already started hearing rumors of them bringing back the UK post-study visa. So prior to this time, I think it was in 2012 or 2011, they stopped the post-study visa. So a lot of students were, going to Canada, going to the US to go and study rather than coming to the UK, but they actually brought it back. And I thought, you know what, if I finish my studies and if I get the post-study visa, it would actually afford me more time to be in the UK. So those were the major reasons why I chose the UK.
Okay, so what was the process like for you relocating back to the UK to study?
So first things first is, for me, I had done a first master's in the UK back in 2015, and coming back, I was majorly looking for a way to live, and because study route was the only way out, I had to look for a cheap university to go to, a university where their fees is affordable. I could afford their fees. And then, the environment was okay as well for I and my family to be able to settle in. And I chose Sheffield Hallam University because at the time, for the course that I wanted to do, they had like one of the cheapest tuition for the course that I wanted to study. I did an MBA in global business. And as at 2020, it was £15,500. The fees was £15,500. But I actually got a scholarship as well that gave me a half fee waiver. Yeah.
Okay, so the scholarship you got, was it because you had actually studied in the UK before, or it's a different process? So can you really walk us through that process of, because a lot of people want to actually go to the UK, but the fees are very like £15,200 now. If you convert Nigerian what's it called, Naira, to, that's a lot of money. So how can they get scholarships, and what are the easy routes to be able to, relocate to the UK?
So the first things first is, I always advise people, like, if you want to study and everybody knows how things are for them, you have to always, at every point of your journey, you have to tell yourself the truth. So if JAPA is the reason why, you want to leave the UK, it's not like you're looking for maybe one of those top schools to go to or something. First of all, you need to look for an affordable school and apply for an admission. Once you receive your admission, most of the schools in the UK usually give scholarship, and this scholarship is based on, they have different criteria that they use to award scholarship. Some of them are if you're very very brilliant, and maybe you had probably a distinction, or for some of them, they give those who have a 2-1 as well. So distinction in Nigeria is like your first class. Do you get what I mean? So for me, the Sheffield Hallam that I came to, they had this scholarship that they were calling the Transform Together Scholarship. And one of the criteria for you to be able to apply for that is if you actually had a distinction. And I did have a distinction when I schooled in Birmingham City University. So I applied and I got it. So most schools have scholarships, but you just need to look at the criteria and see if you're eligible. If you're eligible and you apply, yes, you're going to get it.
Okay, so
some of them are, so the scholarship come in different forms. For some schools, once you apply to them, like for my uni, that's Sheffield Hallam University, if you're a Nigerian student, automatically, once they offer you admission as at 2019, 2020, they will give you a £3,000 discount if you're a Nigerian student. Yes, that's because Nigerians are now holding like the students' union in Sheffield Hallam. So they always come up with, incentives for Nigerians and all of that. So once you apply, you get a £3,000 discount automatically. I don't know how it is for other schools. The previous school I went to, Birmingham City University, they give some form of discount as well. They call it the VC scholarship. I think it's about £1,500. So really, it depends on the school. So, but for my school, when they give you that £3,000 discount and they give you any other scholarship, they will not allow you to take the two scholarships. So they will always choose the one that is higher in amount. And the one that I got was a half fee waiver. So they chose that one for me rather than giving me the 3,000, of course, which was like over £7,250 that they waived for me. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. So now you said you did your first degree, your first master's in the UK. So I think probably, and now you said you are married with 2 kids. So probably going back again to the UK means you were going this time around married. So what are the benefits, or how was it possible? How was it easy for you going to the UK, settling down this time around with a family?
Well, to be honest, it is not an easy journey, like I said previously, because the truth is, if you're coming to the UK as a single person, I mean, it is way easier than coming as a family. And the reason why I said that is, I mean, if you're coming as a family and you have all the funds, to take care of childcare, to get a house, and all, probably maybe you have enough money to pay for your house for even 6 months before you get a job or something, that's perfectly fine. But for some of us that, didn't have that kind of opportunity, it's really tough. So you have to plan. One of the major things that we did was to make sure we plan. And because we had lived in the UK before, so we knew how long it took to get a job. We had gotten our NI back. I and my husband, we got our NI back in 2015. So we knew that process, because if you come into the UK and you have to work, you need to get an NI. And to get an NI, it takes between 2 to 4 weeks for you to be able to get your NI, because without that NI, you won't be able to work. So we already had the NI. We knew once we come in, we can hit the ball rolling by getting jobs. But as at the time we came into the UK, I was 5 months pregnant. And I was coming to study an MBA. It wasn't easy. In fact, most of my friends were like, Winifred, are you sure you know what you're doing? It's not going to be easy for you. And then I had a 2-year-old, my daughter. So it was really tough. We had to structure it in such a way, I and my husband, we had to structure it in such a way that, because I was going to school obviously during the day. My husband had to get a night job, because if you don't have anybody to help you take care of your kids and you don't have money to pay for childcare, you just have to find a way to balance it out with your partner. So that was what we did. My husband made that sacrifice for me to be able to go to school, and he was working at night as a support worker, right? And that was how we were able to manage. And as soon as we came in January too. I think we came in on the 22nd of January. By the 3rd of February, my husband had already gotten a job offer, but then they told him he couldn't start because they had to do some verifications and all of that. They told him he couldn't start until the 3rd of March. So I would say for anyone, if you're coming in and you don't have an NI already, you can't just get a job as soon as you come in. So at least you should have maybe like 3 to 4 months rent. And sometimes when you come in, and especially now that, a lot of Nigerians are coming into the UK
in mass,
things are not as easy as people make it seem. It is easy. The life here is good. I'm not even going to lie about it. But you need to be prepared, because you don't want to come in and now be asking yourself some questions like, who sent me? Why did I even, take this step and all of that? So you need to be prepared. You really, really need to be prepared. And then one thing I will say again is, before the pandemic, before 2020, it was really easy to get an accommodation in the UK. If you come in as a family, it was really easy. But after the pandemic, my dear, it's been crazy. So if you're coming in, you have to make sure that, okay, you have somewhere that you and your family will be able to put up for a couple of months. So I and my husband, when we came in 2020, we had to stay in an Airbnb. We stayed in an Airbnb. We're paying £72 a night. And we stayed there for like 8 days before we were able to get a house. But that was in 2020. So after, I've seen families who come in. We had a family friend who came in January this year. Him and his wife, he thought, okay, once I come in, I'm going to get a house. But they were shocked. They stayed in the hotel for a month and 2 weeks before they got a place. And
wow,
it's not a lot of money. It is not easy. And it's because people don't actually consider these things before they come in. Everybody is like, let me use our Nigerian language. We go rough and we go hustle am. It is not about roughing it and hustling it, because almost you'll be tired. And the way that this place is, nobody is giving you anything. You are totally on your own. I mean, if you have family here, if you have friends here who can help out once in a while, but don't even depend on any of those. Make sure you're prepared before you step out. That's what I'll say.
Okay, thank you so much for this insight. Now, can you run us through the process of going online to search for a school? Once you get the school, so what are the process? Do you have to write exams? How much do you need? What are you looking at? So we just tell us the process, for getting from admission or looking for a particular school to go to, and then going to the UK. So if you could just walk us through the process, that would be very great.
Okay, so first things first is, it depends on the course that you want to study. Obviously, you have to do your research, go online, check for the schools that are offering those courses, and then you can apply to the schools. And then the second thing again to look out for is how much the fee costs. So you're the one who knows how your pocket is and how much you can afford. So when you get maybe like 3 or 4 schools, you compare, and once you're able to, settle your mind on one of them, or even two. For me, I would say, if you want to apply for admission, it's always good to apply to more than one school, because sometimes you throw in an application and you don't get a favorable response from some of the universities. It's not like maybe you're not intelligent or anything. They just did not find your supporting, they call it personal statement. Maybe it just wasn't strong enough for them. And because of that, they will deny you admission. So your supporting statement has to be, very, very convincing for you, for the admissions officer to be able to give you admission. And after that, the next thing would then be, so for the UK, coming to the UK to study is actually very easy compared to other countries, because for them, you just need to have your proof of fund in your account for 28 days. For Canada, I think you need to have it for like 6 months or thereabouts. It's not an easy process. But for UK, you just need to show your proof of fund for 28 days. So once you get your admission, the next thing you have to do, prior to 2019, most schools would say, okay, you pay whatever you have as deposit, but at least you must pay up to £3,000 for you to be able to enter the UK and study. But after, I think 2018, 2019, don't quote me, I'm not really sure. They stopped doing that because I think a lot of people were coming into the country to study and were not meeting up with the financial demands of, their fees. So they now started doing, you must pay 50% of your fees before you get into the UK. So if your fee is like £15,000, you know that you must pay 7,500 before you enter the UK. Now, when you get into the UK, the rest of the fees, the school will now tell you when you're to pay them. For some schools, it's like 3 months after you come in. For some other schools, it's 6 months. Some schools are actually very nice that they could allow you to pay in installments. So those are the things, and they always write it on their website. So those are the things that you have to look out for as well when you're looking for a school. Do they allow you to pay in installments, or is it something that once you come in, they start asking you for the money? Because you don't want to be under pressure with these universities when they are pressuring you to pay. So you need to be able to understand how their payment works, right? And then after you've gotten your proof of fund and it's sat in your account for 28 days, you can now go ahead to, apply for your visa. You put in your visa application. Most times it takes between, it depends on maybe if you use priority or you just applied for the normal visa application. So it takes, previously it was 4 weeks, but now, because of the way things are, ahead is now about 6 weeks or thereabout. I'm not so sure. And once you get your visa, you can come into the UK to study.
Thank you so much for that. So, okay, so probably in the line of our conversation, I would, come back to, because at some point, one will have to know like an estimated figure to have in their accounts, or to work with like a projected figure that have between this, or you would roughly spend between this amount to this amount. So in the course of our conversation, okay, you want to talk about it?
I can just run that through. So for that, I would say it depends on some factors. Now, the money that you need to have in your accounts, if you're schooling in London, you need to have about 1,015 pounds for your upkeep for every month for at least 9 months, right?
Wow.
But if you're schooling outside London, I think it's about 900 and something pounds. I'm not sure for the primary applicants. So if you have like a family, it's 680 pounds for your dependents for 1 month, but for at least 9 months. You have to have that amount of money for each of your dependents for at least 9 months, right? So if you guys are, say, like a family of 4, you know that for you who is the primary applicant, if you're in London, you need to have 1,015 pounds multiplied by 9. Then your dependents, I think, I can't really remember how much they pay for dependents for that you need to have for dependents for London. But then outside London, your dependents is 680 pounds multiplied by 9. That's one side. And then the second one now depends on if you've paid your fees, right? If you've paid all of your fees, you don't have to show any more money as regards that in your proof of funds. But if you've not paid, let's say you've paid 50% of your fees, you must have the remainder of that 50% sitting in your account with your upkeep money. You need to have all of that. So it depends. And then one thing I always tell people as well, some people, because the UK, they use Rwanda to calculate how much, like whatever Rwanda is, maybe if they have 700 as their exchange rate as at that time, that's what they will use to calculate. But I always tell people exchange rates can be crazy. If, for instance, you've calculated everything with the Rwanda rate as at the time you're about to apply, and it comes out to maybe like 8 million, I would say have 10 million in your account, just so that when they are calculating and probably exchange rate has gone up, you will not be, you won't be worried, because things like that can make them deny you a visa. If the money that is in your account is not up to what it is supposed to be, they can deny your application. So you need to always have more than whatever it is that you calculated. Because for me, when we were coming, I think what I was supposed to have in my account was about 15 million, but I had about 17 million or thereabouts in my account.
So it's good to have excess in your account in case.
It's always good. Yes, it's always good because of the exchange rate fluctuation. It's always good to have excess. It's better to have excess than for you to fall short.
Okay. Now you spoke about London having a different, amount that you pay, and outside London having. So is it like, so it's not a fixed figure across board, is it?
No, it's not a fixed figure across board. London is London. London is in a world of its own. And if you're a student and you're coming to the UK to study and you choose a university in London, is it that maybe you have plenty money, or your father has money, or somebody is sponsoring you or something? But if you're just looking for, somewhere that you can have a good life and study and be okay, just look for schools outside of London, because London is really expensive. Housing, everything in London is expensive. It's not like, so in London, I have a friend that stays in London. She was a student, but now she's graduated. She pays £550 for one room that she stays in. Meanwhile, where I live in, with £550, you can get at least a 2-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, with your parlor, and you get what I mean. But in London, she pays £550 for just one room. And the one room is not like she has her own toilet to herself. She still has to share toilet with other people. Yeah.
Wow, that's really pricey. So I think
London is pricey.
Yeah, so it's good for everybody to know that once you are coming into the UK, look for somewhere that is, don't go and be doing big boy or big girl. Except if your parents has
That's money. What I said. So you would know yourself, you would know how much you can afford.
Tell
if
yourself
you have the money,
truth.
Why not?
Tell yourself the truth. Okay, thank you so much for sharing so much into so much insight as regards your relocation process. Now, you talked about going back to the UK because you know that you're going to have like the post-study visa, which is probably maybe another 2 years after your master's. Now, so since you have that, but at what point did you not decide to pursue the Canadian dream?
To be honest, so the Canadian dream, I and my husband in 2017, we told ourselves that, we wanted to leave Nigeria. So we sat down to weigh our options, and we had option A and option B. Option A was Canada, because we wanted somewhere that when we move, it will be easier for us to settle in terms of getting your papers and remaining in the country permanently and all of that. And as we all know, for the UK, it takes a longer process for you to become a citizen. It takes about 9 years or thereabout for you to become a citizen. But in Canada, and especially now that Canada has the express entry thing that they do, it takes about 3 years for you to become a citizen. So Canada was option A for us. But when we saw that option A was not optioning, we had to come up with option B, and option B for us was the UK. Option B for us was the UK.
Okay, so I like the fact that you came up with another option, but with option A still in mind. So at what point? So when you said option A was not optioning, what did you mean? Is it like because you were in Nigeria, things were not really working, or what do you mean by option A wasn't optioning? Because right now, option A is now option A because you now have your PR. So, so if you could just actually, give us that deep secret experience, we would love to know.
Okay, so after we had decided to, go with Canada, we knew we were going to do the express entry for skilled workers. So we started our journey for this Canadian PR in 2018 December. That was when, yes. Yes. That was when we decided that, okay, we wanted to start pursuing this Canadian dream, right? So in 2018, December, I and my husband, there's this thing they call the CRS. It can give you like your score if you put in your age, put in your English test, put in whether you have a master's or your work experience, everything. It can give you an idea of what your real score would be on the IRCC website, right? So that was what we did. We checked, and even with the masters that I and my husband had and everything, our point was still sitting at 371. But meanwhile, as at that time, the cutoff was between 430 to 450. So we were not even in anywhere close to, the cutoff. Now, things that you can do to help you raise your score is either you write your IELTS. If you write IELTS and you have a very high score in IELTS, like you have maybe 8.0 or 8.5 across the four sections. So you have the speaking, you have hearing, you have writing, and you have listening. If you have at least 8.0 in all of them, usually they would say you should have at least a 7.0, right? That is it for you to pass. But then if you have 8.0 or even 8.5, it raises your score. So we had the option of either writing IELTS as many times as we could to raise our score, or we also had the option to apply for a provincial nomination, right? You can also up your score if you have maybe like a sibling or your parents are living in Canada, or you already have a job offer in Canada. Those things can actually, or maybe if you schooled in Canada previously, those things can, raise your score. But for us, it wasn't that. We didn't have any sibling who was living in Canada. We didn't school in Canada. As at the time, we didn't have any job offer in Canada. So the only option for us was the provincial nomination. And that was in 2018. So in 2019, we went ahead to write our IELTS. There's this thing that you have to do. It's called West verification. So because you're coming to Canada, they have to, check that your degree is equal to their own degree there. So it's a case of you pay, and they will do whatever it is that they do, and then they'll send you a certificate to say that your MSc is equal to Canadian MSc, something like that. So we did that. We did that for our UK degrees because I and my husband, we both have masters in the UK. We didn't bother to do it with our Nigerian degree because the schools in Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, sometimes when you send, because West has to send the uni to verify if you actually went to I don't know. It should just
error.
It will just be there. So we decided to use it to hang. So we used our UK degree. We verified our UK degree, and as soon as that came back, and we got we both wrote IELTS and we passed. My husband entered the pool. That CRS, right? That thing that you use to check your score. It gives you exactly what your score will be on the IRCC website. Like if it says you would have 371, that's what it is going to be. Because when my husband now went ahead to profile himself on the IRCC website, that was what it was, 371. And we had 371 between February and let me say April of 2018. Once your birthday comes and you're ready in the pool, your points will drop by 5 marks.
Wow.
Yes. So for each year you're in the pool and you do your birthday, -5. So when my husband's birthday came, because he was the primary applicant, when his birthday came,
it dropped.
They took out 5 marks. from our points, and we dropped down to 360 something points,
yeah,
which wasn't anywhere close to what the cutoff was at that time. So we did some research and we found out that a province called Saskatchewan was inviting people to apply for provincial nomination. So we did that. And for Saskatchewan, we had to pay, I think we paid $300 each to be able to apply to the province, 300 Canadian dollar. We paid, and after we waited for a response from Saskatchewan for 38 weeks.
Wow.
And when the response came back, it was a rejection to say that, oh, we're sorry, your job is not in demand in Saskatchewan. That's my husband's job, because my husband is an environmental specialist. They said that his job was not in demand in Saskatchewan. And this was, let me get the exact dates because I wrote it down. So this was on the, was it? Yeah, 18th of November in 2019. That was when we received the email from them to say that, there's no way. So exactly, my husband now had to go on the IRCC website to do some adjustments on his application. So he had to set Alberta as, the province that he wanted to go to. So a day after that rejection came to us, Alberta sent my husband a message if he would like to apply for the Alberta Immigration Nominee Program. It's called the AIMP program, right? And that was in 2019. I just said to my husband, see, since we have option B and, we're planning to go to the UK, I think we should just slow down on this process and then go to the UK, see how things will unveil, and then we can continue. My husband was like, no, because we were actually hoping that Saskatchewan was going to give us the provincial nomination, but they didn't. So my husband went ahead to respond to Alberta to say that he was interested, and they asked us to fill out some forms and then send the forms through, a courier service to Canada. But for Alberta, we didn't have to pay any application for their province. Sorry, we didn't have to pay any money for their provincial nomination. But for Saskatchewan, we paid 300 Canadian dollars each. For Alberta, we didn't have to pay anything. And after we sent that to Alberta, we received a message from them. That was in November. We received a message from them in December of 2019 to say that, they had received our documents and they were reviewing the documents. Then, I think it was on the 10th of January in 2020, we got a message, an email from Alberta to say that they had given my husband the provincial nomination. Wow. And if you have a provincial nomination, it gives you extra 600 points. So we now had 900.
You had like 900.
Yes, we had over 900 points. And of course, we had passed the cutoff and everything. So when they did the next draw on the IRCC, that same January, they asked us to, they now invited us to apply for our ITA because obviously we had. So my husband applied, but I don't know how to say it, whether it is fortunately or unfortunately. As at the time they got back to us on the 21st of January to say that we had gotten the ITA, they now gave us until March of 2020 to respond to the ITA. And as at that time, we were not ready. We were not, ready to respond because, I was pregnant. I was going to give birth the next month. Everything was just, we had just come into the UK. It wasn't
a good time.
Yes, it wasn't a good time. We were not just ready. So my husband rejected the ITA. Yes,
What?
he rejected it. And I would say this. So at this point, like when people, as when I tell people about this, our journey, I tell them that God really wanted us to go to Canada because everything that happened with us, it felt like it was orchestrated by God. How do you reject an ITA and then they will come back to you again to say, we're giving you another ITA, please respond within another time frame. So after he rejected that ITA in March, they came back to us again in July to give us another ITA, and they now asked us to apply again. So, and by July, I had given birth. I had my baby. Initially, when we applied, it was just me, my husband, and my daughter.
And your daughter.
Yes, but as of July, I had given birth. So there was a new addition to the family. And normally during the process, they would always send you an email to give them updates of what is happening to you. When we got into the UK, they sent us a mail to give an update. So we had to update them that, we just moved from Nigeria to the UK. We changed our address on everything. And when they sent us another message to be able to update them, we had to tell them that we have an addition to the family, which is my son. Now, I think that one stalled our application a little bit again, because as at that time, don't forget that 2020, there was pandemic and all of that. And the Nigerian embassy in the UK wasn't open, so we couldn't get a passport for my son. So my husband sent a message. So he sent something called LOE, letter of explanation, to say that because of the pandemic, the Nigerian, embassy wasn't open. We couldn't get a passport for my son and all of that. And they gave us more time, basically, to be able to get our son's passport and then revert back to them. So we did all of that. And in 2020 as well, we had to do our medicals, right? So if you're doing this at some point, they would ask that you do medicals. We did our medicals in the UK, but at first it was me, my daughter, and my husband that did ours. And then later on, when we added my son and he was now in, our application, we had to do medicals for him as well. And after we did the medicals, I don't know, for some reasons, because obviously there was the pandemic, we didn't hear from them. But from time to time, they will send a message to say, we're still working on your application, please bear with us, things like that. That was what we were hearing basically all through 2021. Now, in 2022, we now got a message from them again to say that our medicals that we did in 2021 had expired.
Has expired.
Because your medicals would only last for 1 year.
Wow.
We got a message from them that our medicals had expired and we need to do another medicals. We had to, each and every one of us had to do our medicals again. After we did the medicals and we sent, because they will send the hospital, they have designated hospitals, they will send the results to them. They got back to us to say that we need to do, prior to this time, we had done police reports, because you have to do police reports for everywhere that you've lived in the last 10 years. So we did police reports for Nigeria and we did police reports for the UK.
For the UK.
So they told us that we had to do our police reports again. We went ahead to do the police reports. And after we did the police reports, we didn't hear from them again. So my husband, just got talking with one of his friends, and that friend of his is in Canada actually, and they use this express entry to go to Canada. So the guy now goes, oh, there's actually an email that you could send an email to these guys to ask them about your application, what stage it's at and all of that. So my husband was like, oh, okay, you know what, I will do that. So he did that, and they told him that his application was in the Canadian office in London. So that was where it was being processed and all of that. So as soon as the police reports got back, my husband sent the police report back to them, and we were waiting to hear from them. We didn't hear from them. Someone else now gave my husband another email to say, oh, you can actually send email to them to say, oh, I've submitted everything, the new medical results, the police report, and I haven't heard anything. So it was like that mail that my husband sent was what prompted them. As soon as he sent that email, they replied him to say they were still working on it. And I think it was after 14 days, we got a letter from them to say that we should send our passports for stamping. Like they had approved our application and all of that. So now, this is the trick.
Okay.
The London office, if they're processing your visa or whatever it is in London, all they quite risky.
Why?
Because I don't know, for some reasons it just takes a long time. So my husband had to send a letter to say that he wanted his documents to be sent to the German office. So we sent our passports to Germany.
Wow.
For Germany to now send to Canada. And as soon as it got stamped, because we used UPS, as soon as it got stamped, they notified my husband to say that the passports were ready. So he now had to send an email because they said you can't use UPS to collect. So he sent an email to DHL to tell them that he wanted them to, it was like, it's called an authorization letter to go and collect the passport on his behalf. So DHL picked it up from Canada and sent it back to Germany, and they now sent it. But we had to pay, I think it was about £98 we paid for them to bring it back to us. But to send it to Germany, we paid about £24. It wasn't expensive. But to bring it back, we paid £98 for them to bring it back for us. And that was how we got our PR from Canada.
How did you feel when you got the PR?
See, for me,
Johnny, this 2018.
My husband was very happy. But for me, it was a case of, oh, you give me, you know, give me, I do you keep.
Oh, wow.
That, as in, for me, I was indifferent, because you know how you've voted for something for so long.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I wasn't grateful, but for me, I just felt like the wahala was just too much. At some point, bring this one, update this one, update that one. It was just, I don't know, but thank God, you know, everything happened the way it happened, and in the end, we got the PR. But okay, so imagine that while we were waiting to get the PR, I and my family, we had to renew our visa in the UK, and it cost us £8,000 to renew our visa. Yes, because we're four.
£8,000.
Yes, to renew our visa. We renewed our visa in June, and they gave us PR in July.
Can you go back and collect your money and say, please, I don't want the visa any longer. Can I have my money back? Do you know what £8,000 can do right now?
My dear,
my money back, please. I forgot about your visa. Give me my money back. Is it not possible to write an email to ask for your money back?
It is not even funny. And for me, I was like, if you guys had given us this thing maybe like in May or something, we would have, do you understand? We wouldn't have had
Mm.
to be renewing. Or I mean, it happened the way it happened, so it's fine.
In everything, we give God thanks.
Yes.
So my next question. Okay, so I would like to welcome everyone that has joined the conversation so far, and to those people that have connected. So we have Sweet Oster saying hello everyone. Hi, thank you for tuning in today. And to everybody that is online, please, if you have questions, please drop it in the comment section and we'll ask our guests. And if today is your first time coming on the show today, kindly subscribe to this channel. We have amazing content, trust me, that you could actually learn from. We've had, discussions about how to relocate to Australia, how to relocate to the US, different types of visas that, that are available for legitimate travel. And these ones would actually give you green card, PR, citizenship. So it's not like all those ones that will just come and say, just come and just collect and go and then now be dodging. No, even if you have to japa, please japa the right way so that when you're there, you sit down with your full chest, not the one that you'll be looking at the window. So please, if you have any comments, any feedback, please drop it in the comment section and we'll definitely engage with you. Now, one of my questions is, during the process of your PR journey to Canada, I was going to ask that, did relocation to the UK at any point help that process?
I wouldn't say so. No. So the thing is, these guys, they have a standard time. So for some people, I've seen people who got their PR within 6 months, regardless of your geographical location, be it Nigeria or you're in the UK or anywhere else. Do you understand? So they have standard times when they do things. And I think for us, what really affected ours was the pandemic, because 2020, 2021, all visa applications were stalling. It wasn't anybody's fault. Do you get what I mean? So I think it was just at the point when we applied. But I don't think being in the UK had any impact on
It didn't have
the
any
process.
effect.
No, I don't think so. As in, I wouldn't say it did. No, I wouldn't say it did.
Okay. So can you give us like a baseline estimated cost for your relocation to the UK and also to Canada?
My relocation to UK, I can't give an exact
you could have like probably you could give us like a bracket.
So for the UK, and it also depends on how much your fees is. For me, I didn't have to pay the full tuition.
Yeah, because you had a scholarship.
Yes, I only paid half, which was about 7,500 and something pounds or thereabouts. And then, the money that we used to move to the UK. So I would say it depends. If you're coming to the UK, say to be honest with you, nobody always has all the money at once. And that's what I tell people, because people look at how much it costs and they're like, oh my God, I can't do this. You know what? Oh, I can't. But I always say it, plan. Yes, you would plan, but take things, one step at a time. But if you're looking at coming to the UK to study, at least be looking at maybe 6 to 7, between 5 to 7 million, including your school fees.
5 to 7 million. Is it when the Naira had strength or this present day Nigeria?
Not this present day. I'm talking about when I came.
As at then, okay.
Yes, not this present day, because this present day, no. But for like, have at least 5 to 7 million, and that 5 to 7 million might not cover all the fees that you have to pay. So when you come here, you're still going to have to pay some of your fees, but at least for you to be able to leave Nigeria, pay half of your fees, and then be able to come in here and settle in, at least 5 to 7.
Okay.
if you ask
Thank
me.
you for that. So for the Canadian process.
Wait, I wrote the Canada one down. I need to read out everything that
The
we paid
exact
and
figures.
the exact figures. So for Canada, proof of fund for a family of 4, because my family is a family of 4, was 8 million.
Wow.
Right? And that's about 28,102 Canadian dollars. That's for proof of fund, right? And then police reports in Nigeria, as at that time, I don't know how much it is right now. It cost I and my husband 15,000 naira each. So for both of us, it was 30,000.
30,000.
Right? Yes. And then for the permanent residency application, you have to pay for it. I and my husband paid 825 Canadian dollars each. That's for adults. Then for children, it's 450 Canadian dollars.
Each or together?
No, each. For each. For I and my husband, it was 825 Canadian dollars each. For the kids, it's 450 Canadian dollars each. Right? Then for family biometric fee, so they will ask you to go and do your biometrics once things are going well. For that one, it cost us 170 Canadian dollars.
Each or in total?
No, together, in total.
Okay.
Yes, in total. Yes, for us to be able to get our biometrics done. And then you have right of permanent residency fee. You have to pay that as well. And that cost us 500 Canadian dollars for the 2 adults. That's for I and my husband. So that's another 1,000 Canadian dollars, right? Then for the medicals cost 320 Canadian dollar, 320 pounds for each of the adults. That's for I and my husband. It was 320 pounds that we paid for the medicals, and we had to pay twice. Don't forget, because we did medicals twice, right? And then for children is 180 pounds for the kids, and we paid that twice as well. And then UK police reports is 55 pounds for each person, and we had to pay that twice. So we paid about 220 pounds for our police reports in the UK. So if you calculate all this money, see, the
Japa is expensive. Oh.
Japa is expensive. I'm not even going to lie.
Japa is expensive.
And the reason why somebody would tell you that it's not expensive is because people don't do all of these things at once. And some people don't even keep track of how much they paid. At some point, when they say, oh yeah, come and pay 30,000, no, they will pay it and say, it's just 30,000. When they say, come and pay 25,000, you pay and say it's just 25. When they say, come and pay 50, you pay and say it's just 50. But as at the time when you're trying to now calculate and tell somebody how much it is, you just say, I paid only 50,000, no, and that was it. And you've forgotten the 25 and the 30 that you had to pay. So if you keep a track of how much you actually spent on Relocate, it's not easy. And that's not even inclusive of the money that you would have to spend when you get there.
When you get there.
Yes, this one is just for you to get there. Do you understand? So I would say it's not for the faint-hearted, but you know what you want. And for me, it wasn't like we had all the funds sitting in somewhere, and at every point in time when they say come and do this, we'll just go in that pool and take out money and go. It took a lot of working hard, a lot of working extra hours to be able to, get money, a lot of, because as at the time when they asked us to do the second medicals, that was when we were renewing our UK visa. that period that we had to pay £8,000, and we had just moved houses as well. It was crazy, including housing and everything. We had spent over £10,000, and it wasn't even funny for them to now say we should come and do another medical. So at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm tired. Let's just leave this Canada thing and face the UK and just remain here. But my husband was like, nah, he would find a way, and that was what happened. So I would just say, be prepared, at least have an idea of how much everything costs. And I think at each point in time, you'll be able to afford whatever it is that they would ask you to come and pay, because you don't pay everything at once, but it's always good for you to have an idea of how much it is.
Thank you so much for sharing with us the details, as in your budget was very, very detailed. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, what skill set do you need to develop and utilize to compete in the labor market in UK and also in Canada?
Well, so for UK, I would say that when most people, come to the UK, and I think is what people here tell people back home, because an average Nigerian that you see that wants to come to the UK to study, they'll tell you, once I come in, I'm going to do care job, and I've never had to do care. Back in 2015 and even now, I've never had to do care. And it's not like I'm above doing care or anything. I don't like that line of job, and I've never had to do it, right? But I would say you need to, if you're coming to the UK, you need to be resilient though. Honestly, you need to be resilient. If you're coming to the UK has a way of forcing you to be responsible. You need to make up your mind and tell yourself, because as in, I don't know how to put it, but nobody is going to pay your bills for you. You need to do whatever it is that it takes for you to put food on your table and pay your bills. On the side of skills that you can have, if there are extra skills that you have, things like maybe making hair for a lady, or maybe you can cook, because people cook for other people. Like there's some people who cook for students. That could also help. If you have such soft skills, it can help you, because while you're doing your job, you can also have, those other little skills that can help you raise money on the side. But then professional skills, every job, you know how it is in Nigeria, that you will work in a marketing company, you will deliver mail, you will do this one, all of those things. Yes, all of those things actually help when you come to the UK, because forget the fact that they always want you to have that UK working experience. But I think once you've passed that stage of, you've had the UK working experience, every other experience that you have counts. They're always looking for people with transferable skills. Are you able to lead? Are you a team leader? Can you work, within a team? Things like that. So those are things that you need to be able to develop as well. And when you go for interviews, those are some of the things that they look out for. They'll be asking you scenario-based questions like, tell us a time when you were in a team and you were able to resolve conflict. They want to know that, apart from the education that you have and your qualification, you're able to manage people. If you're a people's person, you will do very well in the UK, because it's all about managing people and stuff like that. So I would say any skill that you have, just refine it. And if you can add soft skills as well, extra skills, things that can help you. Because I know in the UK here, they're always looking for, most Nigerians actually are always looking for, how we take pictures in Nigeria now. Our Nigerian pictures are always really on point and everything. But in the UK, it's not like that. In fact, when I and my husband went to take our Christmas photos last year, at some point I was like, I will not be this photographer like this, because I do not even understand But I was like, if it's Niger, they've snap picture for you. So if you're a Nigerian here and you know how to take pictures, added advantage, because you will make money. I know a lady who takes pictures here and she makes a lot of money, like a lot of money. And she's a student as well. Do you get what I mean? So any skill that you can, it is a case of no knowledge is lost. Anything that you can lay your hand on, especially if you're a family like a married woman, or if you can cook, if you can make hair, if you can sew, all those little skills, they help.
Thank you so much for that. Now, I was going to ask, during your relocation process, did you use any agent at any point in time for both the UK and Canada?
No.
You did it by yourself?
Yeah.
You didn't use any?
I didn't. For me, I just feel like, so if you're using an agent because you're a very busy person and you can't sit down to do applications, to go through all those hassles, I can understand. But if you're not busy and you're using agents, excuse me, what are you using agents for? Because whatever the agents will do, it is not like, so in the end, it is not like they will still tell you, go on the website, do this, you will they will not do your this thing, but they will just guide you. They will not apply for you. They will not do it for you. You will still have to do it by yourself in the end. So you're just paying somebody to help organize you. That's the way I see it. Do you understand? Like, we had this family friend that paid an agent 600,000 naira for this Canada application stuff, to be able to help them and all of that. And as I'm talking to you now, they're in the UK. And that money
there was no refund.
Talking about, there was no refund. Because the person is not going to tell Canada to speed up their process or to give you PR. No. For me, if you can, do your application yourself. You just need to. So if you're doing this relocation process thing, I would say you constantly have to be on the internet, because you have to be up to date with whatever it is that is going on in maybe the country that you're going to. So you will need to do a lot of Dex research. You will need to do a lot of Dex research, to be able to find out things. And I think for some people as well, it helps to be in groups. Like, I know that there are some Canadian groups.
There are lots of WhatsApp groups, different types, Telegram,
and even Telegram. Yes, people join, and then people tell you their story. People share things on the platform. You get to know how people did, their own, how they went about their own. So I think it would help as well if you join some of those groups. But for me, using an agent, for me, is a no. We did our application ourselves. No agents, nothing.
You are street now. Okay, so now you told us that finally, when you actually getting your PR, as in going relocating to Canada, you finally use the provincial pathway, the provincial nomination pathway. Now, what pathway do you recommend to people trying to relocate to Canada?
So the truth is, the pathway that you would follow in the end depends on your situation. Like I explained to you, so it's the express entry. I think it has 3. They have one for skilled workers. They have one for some other workers, and I think they have a third group as well. I'm not so sure, but we went for the skilled workers, right? And for that skilled workers route, so there are several things that could determine if you will get it or not. Like, if your IELTS result is good, of course your score will be high. If you have a master's, because they use your education as well. how many years of experience that you have as a worker. So they have 0 to 2 years, they have 3 to 5 years, and they have 5 years and above. So I think those are the marks that they used to give. If you have a job already in Canada, it will up your score. But when you've done all of these things and your score hasn't still gotten up to the cutoff mark, you would obviously have to look for another way to raise your score. And one of the ways in which you can do that is the provincial nomination. If you don't do provincial nomination, you will keep writing IELTS. I have a friend that has written IELTS like 6 times now. You will keep writing IELTS to see how your score
To
can
boost
move
your
from
score.
to boost your score. If it's not writing IELTS, then there's maybe you try to get a job in Canada, or if you have someone who can nominate you. So if you have a sibling in Canada, or your parents are in Canada and they can nominate you, it will up your score as well. Then I have another friend who speaks French. It was easier for her. So instead of writing the English exam, she wrote the French exam. And that one moved her score up, and she's single as well. So it was easy for her to get. I think she got hers within 6 months. It didn't take
Wow.
it didn't take time at all. Yeah. So it's always different for different
For
people.
individuals.
Mhm. And one thing again that really affects your score is your age. The age affects the score a
Is it
lot.
when you're younger, or it favors you when you're
When
younger, or
you're
it favors you when
it
you're older?
favors you when you're younger. So if you're say like between 25 to max 32, the chances that you would get a high score on that CRS simulation is high. But if you're over 33, it now begins to play down. Do you understand? Yes. So your age as well. But that doesn't mean that there are people who I've seen who are even over 40 who are doing this
Yeah.
thing, but most of them are relying on provincial nomination. That's why I said it depends on your situation. So for someone who is like 28, why would you be looking for provincial nomination? Once you have an IELTS, you have a master's, you've done your English test, you have years of work experience, you will easily get it. When you put in, it will play between 470 something. So which makes it okay, because once I think cutoff used to be between then that we did our cutoff used to be between 430 to 450. For each month, they change it when they are doing JAWS. So it's not the same. I don't know the criteria they use to determine the cutoff, but for each month it's not the same. And you would always get an email, like if you've profiled, you would always get an email to say, oh, this month's draw was at maybe 454, this month's draw was at 460. So you would always know like what range the cutoff plays at.
Thank you so much. So what are the benefits of being having what are the benefits of having a Canada PR or a Canadian PR?
The benefits are obviously a lot, because once you get your PR, you go into Canada and you live in Canada for 3 years. Obviously, you would become a Canadian citizen. And then you're also entitled to, even as a PR holder and all of that, you're entitled to everything that their citizens are entitled to. So like for your kids, as soon as you get to Canada, they'll start paying your kids monthly and all of that. Of
They
course,
start paying your kids monthly.
Yes, they pay your kids. I think now they pay 550 Canadian dollars for each child.
Wow.
They'll start paying your kids. Yes. There are a lot of benefits. You can easily access things. It's not like you're restricted, unlike UK, that if you're a student, you don't have recourse to public funds. There are a lot of restrictions. Do you understand? It's not like that with the Canadian PR. No.
Okay, so what is the best pathway of relocating to the UK?
For now, actually, a lot of companies in the UK are beginning to sponsor, especially those in the health sector. They're beginning to sponsor people to come to the UK to work. So I think for that one, I feel if I had the opportunity, I would have gone for that one, because you're not having to pay any school fees and anything. They help you, they do everything. You just come here and you start working. Do you understand? But then it's not easy to get it as well. You have to do,
Yes, write exams. You have to
write exams, do all of those things. But then school is not bad as well. It's just that the only thing is that you have to pay fees, and the fee is not funny.
So if you have questions, kindly drop it in the comment section. So we have Nemet Concert saying thank you. This has actually been a very, very insightful and informative session. Thank you so much for, sharing your experience with the world and also telling us of your journey, because it's not easy. 3 years, 2 countries, and finally now, you're holding this PR to say, look, I am Canadian. That's a very, very good one. And, I like the fact where you said that you had always said in your mind, or you had always wanted that you do not want to live in Nigeria, you wanted to live abroad, and you set your heart to it. So I think the first step, before you actually go out of the country, is to make up your mind that this is what I want to do. Be determined to say, I want to live XYZ. I don't want to be in Nigeria anymore. So I think then everything now falls in place. So, but if you're like, should I not, you might not put in at that zeal, and you might not put in that effort, to looking at different, options to make you leave the country. Now, what are your advice for anyone trying to get a Canadian permanent resident or to relocate to the UK?
Okay, so first things first, I would say is my advice to anybody trying to relocate is, number one, you need to be patient. These things are not easy. For some people, it's easy. For some other people, it's not. So I think being patient is key. And then secondly, you need to do a lot of planning. So there are some people who fit it, and I'm a Christian, and I believe in faith, I believe in favor, I believe in grace, but you need to be able to plan. So I've seen people who come into the UK because they were not really prepared for the kind of things that they're going to meet while they're here. They come here and things are so tough for them and they're wanting to go back. So it is not like the UK is bad. No, the UK is not bad. You're the one who did not plan very well before you came in. Do you understand? And food in the UK is cheap. Things are really, life here is good. I won't even lie. And I will not advise anybody otherwise that if you want to leave, if you want to leave, yes, leave. But you need to plan. And your plan has to be thorough. So you don't want to, I've seen people who give people advice, like there are people who are in the UK who are not students, and they're advising students to come to the UK. That person does not live a student life. They don't know how much it costs for you to have a bus ticket in a month. They don't know how much it costs for you to feed as a student. They just give you general advice, and you come in, they'll tell you, with £200 in a month, you'll be okay, Jare. What are you even eating? Is it not only you? What are you going to eat? But then you come in and it's something different. Please give me 1 minute. My baby is crying.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Yeah. So she had 2 kids. Oh, sorry.
Why are you crying? Come.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we've had a very wonderful and insightful session, and I know that each and every one of you, since you've heard her story, there's something that stood out for me. She talked about you being resilient, so determined that you want to travel to whichever, pick a country. And also, I like what she said. She had a plan A, which is to go to Canada, and when it wasn't forthcoming, they decided to have a plan B. So if your waiting process is probably, maybe it's not looking like you're not getting that option A, try option B, try option C, try option D. Don't just say it's not working for me and drop it. And then another thing to say is you need to plan. You need to tell yourself the truth. Know your capacity. You understand? Know what you can afford. Know what's in your pocket. And even when you are faithing, which faith is good because we know we as spiritual beings, we need to have faith, but you need to plan. You need to know how much it will cost. You need to go and look for cheaper options. Like when she was talking about, the UK, she said, if you are going to London, London is more expensive. And, there are actually some other cities where their cost of living is actually lower, than the other, than other probably province or cities or areas. So you need to do your research. And in as much as you want to use an agent, which is she did not fault, know that or go to where, use people that will not defraud you. Use people that they have office. Use people that probably maybe it's based on recommendation. Don't just sit down and say, I heard, do due diligence. Ensure you do your research because it is not cheap. You're spending money. So, so that you will not just give somebody your money and the person will use your money to chill. Ensure that you do your due diligence and you do research. So go online, look for schools and keep applying. So even if you get no, just continue, just keep applying. And, on this particular, our platform, we've talked about, different countries. We talked about Australia and you could actually watch it, on the channel. And, we have people that could actually help you when you want to start that journey. We talk about going to the US. So there are so many countries, that you could actually travel to legitimately. So I would stand and say, in as much as you are done, you are tired, you can't do this no more, you want to leave this country or you want to live wherever you are, do it the right way. That is when you have peace of mind. If not, you don't want to, you don't want deportation plus ban. Okay, so thank you so much, Winifred, for all that you've shared today. So you were still talking about, the advice that you have. So let's continue.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. My
no,
son
it's fine. It's not easy. Childcare.
So my advice again, and this is to married couples, right? Because I've seen a lot of people come into the UK. Like you would expect that when you come into the UK, your life should be better. I mean, you should live better, have a better relationship with your spouse because things are working. So you won't be thinking about things like you don't have light or maybe water or things like that. But I've seen people's relationship go sour because one of their spouse was not really into the move. Now, if you as a lady, you're able to convince your husband to come to the UK, well and good, convince him and let him come with you. But if that man is saying no, please don't force him to come to the UK or to go anywhere. Likewise, the men, if your wife doesn't want to come, because the next thing you know is once they come and they start facing challenges, at every point in time, like I had this friend, her husband was like, I can't do this. So 6 months now, I've not gotten a job. I left my job I was doing in Nigeria. I came here to be doing a babysitter. No, I'm going back to Nigeria. I can't do this, But if that man actually came on his own, like if he was ready and he moved, he wouldn't be thinking that way. He would just take things as they're coming and see how both of them can walk through it. So I always tell people, ensure that both partners are in agreement. For people who are married, make sure that both partners are in agreement before you leave Nigeria to go to wherever it is that you want to relocate to. And then for single people, when you get into the UK and all of that, you're actually, especially if you come as a student and now that they have the post-study visa, while you're studying, try and see how you can, maybe if you're doing your placements or start on time to look for jobs. There are a lot of companies that actually sponsor people to stay back in the UK and work, but you need to start early. And the process is not easy sometimes. Apart from those in healthcare, that, you know, those that do care and support jobs that you can easily get sponsorships. Other fields that you want to get sponsorship, you need to start on time. And people get carried away when they come into the UK. So they come in, their course is for 1 year. They're like, let me ball small. Before you know what's happening, you've done 8 months. You've done 9 months. And the next thing, you're like, oh my God, you don't have a way to remain in the UK. It is your dream to remain in the UK. You want to remain in the UK, but then you've wasted your time and you don't. So for me, I would say start your job application on time. And another thing again is being in the UK, information is key. Like, if you don't have information in the UK, there are a lot of things that you will miss out on. There are a lot of things that you will not be able to do. But make sure you talk to people, make sure you belong to a community. Make sure if it's church that you go to, you know, there are people, the Nigerian churches here, they are really very, very helpful. They help people to settle in when they come in. Some of them will offer you their houses for you to live in for a while. Some people will give you food, you know, things like that. Look for a community, whether it's in uni or it's outside of uni. Just make sure you belong to a community and don't fail to ask questions. There are lots of people now online that give info about relocation, about living in the UK. Go on Instagram, search for them, follow them, so that when they share all those useful information, you can always have it firsthand, because no amount of knowledge you have is ever too much. It's always good to, you know, learn something new, and that's my advice. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. That's a lot of advice, and those are actually healthy tips that would actually help you. So they are very, very good advice that people really need to take into consideration. So we have a Sweet Oster saying, thank you very much for sharing your journey. And we have Aya saying, be resilient, plan and follow through. Those are actually, the 3 major points that I picked. Be resilient, plan and follow through. So we have Al Amin saying, I need to watch this from the beginning. Jakpalo Shoju with laughing. So we said, which country do you consider most easiest to migrate to and most easy to settle in? That's a question for you.
So I know that for sure, like I had mentioned initially, migrating to the UK is not as stressful as other countries. Like, UK migration is always very straightforward. They don't have that strength to be.
They are looking for money.
Do this today, do this today, do that tomorrow. So UK, yes, it's easier to migrate to the UK, but for settling, it's not really easy to settle in the UK. So if you come into the UK as a student, if you have your post-study and all of that, and what I forgot to say this, what most people don't know is, so if you live in the UK for like 5 years, you can apply for something they call ILR, indefinite leave to remain, right? And then when you get to your 9 years, you can now become a British citizen. But people who come to study forget that even while you're studying that year, if your course is like 1 year, that 1 year doesn't count towards your stay in the UK.
Wow.
Your post-study as well doesn't count towards your stay in the UK. So it is after, and that was why I said, when you're looking for a job, all those jobs that sponsor, once you're able to get one of those jobs that sponsor, that's when it starts counting for you as your stay. Yes. So you can actually, if you stay 5 years, you can get your ILR. If you stay 5 years, your credit rating is good, everything is okay, you haven't committed any crime and all of that, you can apply for ILR, and then that will give you time to wait until the 9 years when you have to become a British citizen. But on the other hand, for Canada, especially those who use this express entry, it takes lesser amount of years for you to become a citizen. But the process for Canada, so for some people, very straightforward, very easy, 3 to 6 months, they've gotten their PR. For some other people, people like myself, it's not easy. We spent over how many years?
How many years from 2018?
It's not easy at all.
You
I
should
would
write a
say
book.
so. So you should. It's about making up your mind and knowing exactly what you want. If you want to settle and become a citizen in a country, so you should be looking at, and you want to do it within maybe like 3 to 5 years, you should be looking at other places, not the UK, because you can't get that in the UK. But then, if it's just to japa, be somewhere and be legit, and then be looking for ways to stay back, then UK is the best option for you.
Thank you so much for that. So what I want to ask is, if you come in as a student, so what your advice is after your studies and you want to do the looking for the post-study, when you start using your post-study visa, ensure that you look for or you start working in companies that sponsor people, right? If
Yes,
not,
so
after your post-study visa, can you renew to stay or you have to go back home?
no, you can't. You go back home. If you finish your post-study and you don't have a job that is sponsoring you to remain in the UK, they will pack your bag for you. Boris will be waiting for you at the airport. They will help you. And you go back
What
to
do you mean that
Nigeria
you just left Nigeria or probably the country that you are for a recess period of maybe
for just a small period. So what I would advise is, and like I say this, I have a friend who was in my class in the uni who did not get a post-study. Like, he didn't bother to go for the post-study route. He just made sure he looked for a job that sponsored him. And now he's still in the UK, obviously. He's working, and the job actually sponsored him for 3 years. So after that 3 years, and once you get one employer to sponsor you, it's always easier to get more sponsorship. Yeah. Once you get your foot in the door, just get that one sponsorship. It's always easier to get more. But if you've not gotten that sponsorship, and trust me, to get the sponsorship is not easy. For those who are in the healthcare, that's why you see a lot of Nigerians coming, and however it is, they try to do care jobs, they try to do support jobs, is because for those ones, right, you can easily get sponsorship. At least you have companies now that when you work for them as a student for like 6 months, they can sponsor your visa to remain in the UK once you've worked with them for 6 months. But for those who are not in the health sector, those who are not doing care, those who are not doing support, it's not that easy. They have a website where you can go and check companies. It's a long list of companies that sponsor visas for people to remain in the UK. So it is worth maybe going to that website, downloading that document, trying to look through. It's not an easy, it is not an easy thing to do. I had this friend when I was here in 2015, when I came to study in 2015. From the first day that we entered into the uni, every time you see her on the system, she's looking for a job. I'll be like, it's not a do or die affair. Now, if you don't get job to sponsor, you go back to Nigeria and see what is it. But do you know that after all of us went back to Nigeria in 2016, she remained here because she got a job that sponsored her. She had 36 interviews.
Wow.
She had 36 interviews just for one company to pick her, for her to remain in the UK. So sometimes I tell people, if you don't put in the work, you won't also see the glory that comes with it. So you need to be willing to put in the work. It's not something that you will come in. I know chilling is good, be chilling, but then have the main goal at the back of your mind.
Leave Nigeria to go and chill and forget about.
Yes, because you will chill, and after 2 years, you will chill and chill out in Nigeria.
You chill out. I like that.
But you will chill out. Do you understand? But if you actually know that for sure you want to remain here, then you need to do something about it, and you need to do it as quick as you can.
Okay, so I have one more question before we call it a night. Now, for those people that actually, for the married ones that come in, and I know that UK, once you're married and you're coming in, your spouse could actually get what's it called? The work permit,
visa.
The dependent visa, and they can actually work. So, is it possible for your spouse? Probably maybe your spouse is not the students, the dependents. Is it possible for that person to get a sponsored job that will keep both of you in the UK? It's possible. During that period when you're studying.
Yes, it's very, very possible. A lot of people. So some people, they come in, their spouse starts working in care, and after a period of time, maybe when it is time for them to renew their visa, the company where they work renews their visa for them, sponsors them. So the person who is the student will now go under the spouse's visa as a dependent now. Do you understand? So it is very, very possible. So yeah, I forgot to say that if you're not looking, that's if it's a couple now, if you as a student is not looking for sponsorship job, make sure that your partner is looking for sponsorship jobs so that everything balances out. You guys will not have to. But there are lots of people now that sponsor, to be honest, especially in the health sector. A lot of them, but you would do the work. You'll be with them 2 years, 3 years. You're in the health sector, you're cleaning people's bonbons.
Thank you so much, Winifred, for sharing your experience with us, for giving us all of these tips, all of these insights. Thank you so very much. I would want to say thank you over and over again. So for me, I've learned a lot, and one thing, I've learned a lot, but one thing that I have actually learned is have a plan. If you do not have a plan, definitely you will go and you will come back. And if you're not coming back gallantly, you're coming back, they're employing you by the weave, or you've been deported. So if you want to just go and chill, know that you will chill out. So have a plan. When you have a plan, every other thing, would actually fall in place. Thank you so much. So in conclusion, what would you like to say?
Thank you very much, Funke, for the opportunity to be able to, share my
story and experience.
Yes, with your audience. And I would just say this to anybody who is thinking of leaving Nigeria, or who has ever thought of leaving Nigeria. It can be frustrating, I know. It can be, sometimes you would doubt a lot of things, but I would say just keep having faith, keep at it. Like I said, if you don't put in the work, sorry to take you back, as at the time when we started our PR journey, there were actually 3 of our friends, 3 families that started this whole process together. We wrote our IELTS at the same time, we were doing everything together. But at some point, they got tired and they stopped. We carried on. We left Nigeria, came to the UK, and then eventually we got our PR. And those people, I'm not saying they don't have faith. I'm not saying, but they just got tired. And every day they are still complaining about, how they want to leave and every other thing. So I would say it can be frustrating. It is not fun, but you know what you want as a person. You know how things are for you in Nigeria. You know the kind of life that you want and the kind of future that you want for your kids. If something like my dad would always say, if something keeps you up at night, is something worth looking into, is something worth working hard for. So if you put in the work, you would always get a positive result at the end, regardless of how things went. That's just the advice I have for everyone. Just keep at it, put in the work, and you will get a positive result.
Thank you so very much. So I'd like to say to our online audience, thank you so much for tuning in today. For those ones that are actually joining for the first time, I'd like to say welcome to my community. This is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swaggerslifestyle. Trust me, we have amazing content that you will definitely learn from. And some actually fun, to make you unwind, and then definitely some are those ones that would actually make you change. You write down things, that would actually help you in life. And I would like to say welcome to my community. Trust me, you will love it here. So till I come your way next time. Okay, so we have a comment. So we have Yejide saying, oh, hi Yejide, thank you for tuning in. So she's saying, surround yourself with positive people. The people you meet when you relocate matters in shaping your perspective. Well done. And she's clapping. Thank you so much for that feedback. We appreciate that. So ensure you have a plan. We'll be saying it, and this is what she's saying is still in line with you being focused and you knowing what you want to do. So surround yourself with the right people. Don't just go there and start chilling and forget the son or daughter of who you are. So thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in today, and kindly subscribe to the channel, and also please share this with your network. So we have a lot of people. So I know that in every nuclear family in Nigeria, we have like probably maybe 5 or 10 people looking for how to run away from the country. So share this with your network. You might actually be helping someone. So I'd like to say to everyone that we'll be going on a little recess, and it's time, sometimes you have to step back and then come back again to continue the journey. So we'll be back in September. Thank you so very much, but definitely we'll be dropping some of our other content on the channel. Till I come your way next time, this is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. Write that country down, prepare to Japa. Bye. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.
Good night.